The good ride, because pros can ride anything. We can't.
The Rossignol Frenemy here. It's a pretty fun board actually. I had a lot of fun on it. It is a camber to about here, so it's camber underfoot right there, and then it goes to rocker on the tip and tail, and it's directional, so the nose is a little bit longer than the tail, and it's got a sintered base. So that means, you know, supposedly you'll go a little faster, but you do have to take care of it and wax it more and make sure that you're not, you know, just scraping the base off and not taking care of it. And then it also has, I think it's called serrated edges with the Rossi, so they're grip tech kind of thing. So how many bumps? About 4 bumps along the heel edge and the toe edge to help out in those icy conditions. I was able to ride this. I got a powder day on it, and then I rode it in some pretty firm snow, but, you know, hard pack and also just straight up ice. I took it in there and tried to give the serrated edges a go. And it was really fun in the snow, and it is directional, so that helps out a lot for those of you who don't want to buy a specific powder board and you want something that kind of, you know, can cross over. That was nice, so it does give you the little extra oomph in the powder. And I found it pretty maneuverable when we were riding that day in trees and stuff. And then the next day I took it out was about a week later, and it was pretty hard pack and you know, some icy spots, some very wind affected areas, good and bad. So there was completely scraped off, and then there was also, you know, a little bit of fluff there. And so I took this, one of the worst runs in Mammoth. It's called Skyline. It's always icy, always blown off, just straight. There's no snow. And yeah, it held great. You definitely are not going anywhere if you throw an edge out there and you're like, you know, want to slow down on ice, no problem. What I did notice when I was slowing down on the ice was that it almost was too much, and I don't know if it's because it's just not detuned, but it didn't want to let go. So I was going, I didn't notice it so much on the toes, whereas on the heels I would come around and I felt like it didn't want to let go and let me into my next turn. And for some people that could be nice, because maybe you're not turning on ice, maybe you just want that extra, security, so that you can have an edge in, and that's cool. For me, I rode the Diva the next day in a very similar situation, and I think it only has one bump, but anyway, it's way more mellow serrated edge, and I enjoyed that a lot more because it was just enough to give you that comfort, but not too much to not release it when you wanted it to. But so I tried to test it in a bunch of different situations. I felt like the pop was really good. It's nice. It's got the camber in between the feet, so you're going to have a little bit of reverb when you're popping, and especially if you're loading the board. It's definitely butterable. It's pretty soft. The snow is really soft under me too, but maybe a medium flex. But it's on the softer side of the Rossi boards that I've tried. And I had a lot of fun on it. I took it stable at fast speeds. It felt fine on the steeps. It wasn't extremely aggressive, but it can do it. Carving, it was alright. I feel like it's kind of the do-it-all board because of how it's built. So if you're looking for something that's, you're like, oh, well, I want to survive on the powder day, or I want to play over there and do over there or whatever, but I don't want to change my snowboard, I think that this is a pretty decent board. And it's pretty forgiving because it is flexible and it has the reverse camber outside of the feet, so it's not going to feel super catchy. And yeah, I didn't even, when I was carving on it and turning on it, I didn't notice the serrated edges, where sometimes I do, like some of the really aggressive magnet traction in the LibTech boards I notice. But this one I didn't, so that was cool. It was just that short part on the ice. So, it's a Rossi Frenemy. If you're looking for something to kind of do it all, then I'd say that this is a pretty decent board for you. And it's nice that it has the setback and it's a little directional. But you can ride it switch if you want, so if you don't really even notice it that much to ride it switch. And actually one day I set this thing up backwards on accident because I didn't know it was directional. So I had this as my nose and this is my tail, and I was riding it switch because of that, and it was really interesting riding a directional board switch. It actually made it easier. That was kind of cool. Yeah, so it's the Rossi Frenemy. This is the 144. I rode it with my Union Milan bindings. And there you go. See, that's the base for you. That's it.